They're moments of great joy. It's just unfortunate that we only experience a handful of them throughout our lives. Moments when we don't even have words to use to explain what we're actually feeling. And if we try to use the words to explain what we are experiencing, we kind of fumble and our words come out all jumbled and we make no sense. For example, a couple of examples in my own life. I remember the very first time, as if it were yesterday, that I held my newborn nephew for the very first time. There were no words that I could use to explain the great joy that I held and had in my heart. The only thing I could do was cry. It was almost a natural response. I was just filled with this inexplicable joy. The tears were tears of happiness because something so pure was in my hands. A funny type of example. So this past Thursday, I was with a friend, and the friend said to me, "Hey, by the way, did you hear that Mega Millions is going to be $340 million? And I said, "So? I don't gamble." But I later went into a convenience store and I found a $1 bill all scrunched in my jacket pocket. And so in honor of Father Keenan, God rest him, I bought a lottery ticket. Now, on Saturday morning at 5 a.m., I got up and I checked the internet to see if my Mega Millions numbers had come out. Well, I think I'm making sense. I'm not fumbling over my words. I didn't win. I would have been so overjoyed, I wouldn't have known what to say. Safe to say that we have certain events in our lives that fill us with such joy that we don't have words. The words just aren't there. Nor do we even need words. Am I far from the mark on this? Hello? You know what I'm talking about, right? Those moments of intense pleasure. It's almost as if the hand of God reaches down and touches us. And we experience that at that very moment, what it's like to be in the presence of God. Today, St. Peter, as we celebrate the second Sunday of Lent, we hear the story of the Transfiguration. When Jesus is transfigured, he's changed. And he is shown in his divine reality. His glory is made manifest. And St. Peter is so overcome with joy that he almost doesn't even know what to say. And so he says something silly. "Lord, it's great that we're here. Let me make 3 tents. One for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." They don't need tents. But Peter is so excited. He's so overwhelmed. He's so overjoyed that he just says the first thing that comes to mind. Moses, Elijah, and Jesus didn't need tents. But what they did need was to see Peter experience the divine there on Mount Tabor. Now, we too can experience, we can have a Tabor experience. We can be up there on the mountain with Jesus. But you see, it starts here, though. Transfigured. It's a funny word. It's a big word. I like to simplify it and just to say that Jesus and his total appearance changes. I think that's a word that most of us can understand, especially my shorter French, those who are shorter than myself. Jesus changes, and he is shown as he truly is. His radiance shines forth. Now that change is something very important for us, because if we are disciples, then we're called to radiate that same sort of change. Most of us won't get to Mount Tabor. And so we have to experience that change in Dartmouth, or in New Bedford, or in Westport, or in Fairhaven, or in Freetown, wherever we live. We have to experience the change there. And here's what happens. As we are changed, people recognize and can witness the change that has happened in our lives. It's like a domino effect, because as we change, and people experience that change, they're so overwhelmed by what they see in us, that transformation, that we bring about change in them. It's a pay it forward type effect. So when we feed the hungry and clothe the naked, And when we visit the sick and those who are lonely, those might seem like seemingly insignificant or very easy things to do, but we bring about change. When we take time to go out of our way to say something nice to someone after they've had such a miserable day, we bring about change. But the thing is, the change starts here. We're the catalyst. We need to be the one who starts the ball in motion. Jesus knows that that's not easy for us. Because sometimes, now again, I'm only going to speak for myself. Sometimes change is difficult. We get stuck in our own ways, or I get stuck in my own ways. And I need to branch out again. I need to realize that the call of a disciple is to think not this way, but to think that way. To think outward. To put ourselves second. Jesus knows that that's not easy. And so ordinary bread and wine is not good enough for us. So those simple elements will be transformed, totally changed into the body, the blood, the soul, and the divinity of our Savior, Jesus Christ. And in this food from heaven, we are empowered to bring about the change that is needed in this community so that the reign of God will not just be manifest on Mount Tabor, but will be manifest here.